Imagine a land rich in resources, home to millions of people, suddenly becoming a site of unimaginable horror. This is the story of the Congo Free State, a tale of exploitation and cruelty orchestrated by one man often considered one of the most evil in history, King Leopold II of Belgium. Today, we delve into the dark history of Leopold II, exploring what he did, why it was wrong, and the eventual consequences he faced. Leopold II ascended to the Belgian throne in 1865, eager to transform his small European kingdom into a colonial empire. Unlike other European powers with vast colonies, Belgium had none, and Leopold was determined to change that. His eyes were set on Africa, particularly the resource-rich Congo Basin. He presented himself as a humanitarian, claiming he wanted to bring civilization, Christianity, and commerce to the heart of Africa. However, his true intentions were far more sinister. In 1885, Leopold succeeded in establishing the Congo Free State at the Berlin Conference, where European powers carved up Africa. However, this was no ordinary colony. Leopold owned the Congo personally, a staggering 76 times the size of Belgium, and he was free to exploit its resources as he saw fit. He implemented a brutal regime focused on extracting as much wealth as possible, particularly through the rubber trade. Under Leopold's rule, the Congo Free State became a nightmare of forced labor. The demand for rubber, driven by the Industrial Revolution and the rise of the automobile industry, saw millions of Congolese men, women, and children forced to harvest wild rubber. Villages were required to meet impossible quotas, and those who failed to do so faced horrific punishments. The most infamous practice was the severing of hands, used as proof of discipline. Soldiers of the force publique, Leopold's private army, would cut off the hands of those who didn't meet quotas or resisted. Entire villages were massacred, women and children held hostage, and the population was terrorized into submission. Conservative estimates suggest that between 10 to 15 million Congolese people died during Leopold's rule, a staggering human cost for the wealth extracted. The methods used to extract rubber and other resources were not only inhumane but also environmentally destructive. Villages were burnt down, forests decimated, and ecosystems destroyed. The social fabric of the Congolese society was ripped apart, leaving deep scars that would last generations. Reports of the atrocities began to leak out, thanks to missionaries, journalists, and activists like Edie Morel and Roger Casement. An international humanitarian campaign was launched, exposing the horrors of the Congo Free State to the world. Morel, a shipping clerk, noticed the large quantities of rubber and ivory being exported from the Congo, and the equally large quantities of arms and ammunition being sent there. He deduced the existence of a violent regime and began a campaign to expose the truth. Casement, a British consul, conducted investigations and provided detailed reports of the atrocities, which further fueled the global outrage. Public outrage grew, and pressure mounted on Leopold to reform. International protests, newspaper articles, and books highlighted the plight of the Congolese. Famous figures such as Mark Twain and Arthur Conan Doyle joined the campaign, bringing even more attention to the issue. Twain's pamphlet, King Leopold's Soliloquy, was a scathing satire that helped galvanize public opinion against Leopold's regime. In 1908, facing mounting international pressure and condemnation, Leopold was forced to cede control of the Congo Free State to the Belgian government. The Congo became a Belgian colony, marking the end of one of the most brutal regimes in history. However, this transition did not immediately end the suffering of the Congolese people, as abuses continued under Belgian colonial rule, though they were less extreme than under Leopold's direct control. The Belgian government tried to portray the takeover as a humanitarian effort, but the exploitation and oppression did not cease entirely. Leopold died in 1909, unrepentant and defiant, having never faced justice for his crimes. He had amassed a vast fortune from his exploitation of the Congo, much of which he used to fund public works in Belgium, such as buildings and monuments, many of which still stand today. These projects were often seen as attempts to sanitize his legacy. The legacy of Leopold II's rule is a haunting chapter in the history of colonialism. The scars of his exploitation and brutality remain in the Congo to this day. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of unchecked power and greed. Remembering this dark period is crucial to understanding and preventing such atrocities in the future. The story of the Congo Free State is not just a tale of one man's greed, but a reflection of the broader injustices of the colonial era. It calls for an ongoing reckoning with the past and a commitment to justice and human rights in the present and future. Efforts to remember and educate about this period are crucial. In recent years, there have been calls for Belgium to confront its colonial past more openly. Statues of Leopold II have been defaced or removed, and there have been public apologies for the atrocities committed. Yet, the impact on the Congolese people remains profound, with the legacy of exploitation contributing to ongoing challenges in the region. The exploitation and dehumanization that occurred under Leopold's rule offer important lessons about the dangers of imperialism and unchecked power. They underscore the importance of international oversight and the need for ethical governance and human rights protections. As we reflect on this dark chapter, it's essential to remember the resilience and strength of the Congolese people who have endured and continue to strive for a better future despite the horrors of their past. This history also serves as a reminder of the importance of global solidarity in the face of injustice. The international campaign against Leopold's atrocities in the Congo was one of the first major human rights movements of its kind, demonstrating the power of collective action to bring about change. In conclusion, the reign of Leopold II over the Congo Free State stands as one of history's most egregious examples of exploitation and human rights abuses. It highlights the catastrophic consequences of imperialism and the urgent need for historical reckoning and justice. By remembering and learning from these events, we can work towards a world where such atrocities are never repeated. Thank you for joining us as we explored this critical and painful part of history.